One of the most important things we want to know before we accept a job is how much are we going to get paid. At the end of the day, we work for the money, right? So I'm going to talk to you about that. And I'm going to give you the short and the long answer. And why is that? Because even though there's a range for the pharmaceutical sales salary, there are other factors that you must understand because they have a huge impact about how much money you can make as a pharmaceutical or medical sales rep. So if you're just starting in this industry in pharmaceutical sales, you have no experience whatsoever, I can tell you that you can expect about between $75,000 to $80,000 total compensation in your first year. However, that is gonna vary because if you, let's say, for instance, if you're coming from another industry where you have a huge sales experience and an amazing track of results, that can, even though you're coming as a new rep, that can, push your salary to a point that is even higher. The other point is, let's say that the company wants to pay $80,000, but your previous job you were making $90,000. Two things are going to happen. One, they're not going to hire you. Why? Because they're not going to bring you to their company to make less money because you're not going to be as motivated and probably you're going to leave the job as soon as you can. The other thing that they can do is try to match what you were doing. In those cases, even though you're coming new to the industry and you never worked before as a pharmaceutical sales rep, they can raise the salary so they can bring you can feel satisfied and happy to be here. Now, there are other factors that will have an impact on how much money you can make. For instance, there are companies that they are famous for having a very high base salary, but the bonus are smaller. So if that's the case, you may get a higher salary, but obviously, when you sell, your quarterly bonuses are not going to be as high. Some other companies, they decide to give a lower base salary, but the bonuses are really huge. Like in the case of medical sales in general, medical devices, you're going to see lower base salaries, but their bonuses are really significant, right? And also depends on the company. There are companies that they have an amazing compensation package. Some others, they don't really motivate that much to the reps. I've been in companies where I have made $22,000 a quarter, but that is not every single company. Another element that is going to determine how much money you have is how you're ranking nationally. Usually the reps that are the top reps in the nation, the top 10, the top 1%, 2%, those reps make significantly more money than the ones at the bottom. Some pharmaceutical companies can have an average of, let's say, from $18,000 a year in bonuses to $24,000 a year. That's somehow the average, but once again, it really depends on the performance. I've been in companies where I've made $22,000 in a quarter. It really depends on the compensation package and really depends how you're ranking in the nation. Another element could be if the company you're working for is going to launch a new product. Let's say that you get hired because the company is expanding, they got a product that it was recently approved by the FDA and they just launched it. Usually when the company introduces a new product, they offer a very good compensation package, especially during that first year. You're going to have more possibilities to make money than if you're just selling a drug that is being out there for a while. Another element is how often the company pays for the bonuses. Most of the pharmaceutical companies, they pay the bonus 4 times a year, so that means quarterly, while there are a few out there that they pay their bonuses only 3 times a year, that's by trimester. So in my experience, I worked for 2 companies that they pay 3 times a year, and honestly the compensation was never that great. I have found that the companies that pay the bonuses more often, the reps tend to make more money. And maybe one of the reasons is because the growth and the results of the sales are never 100% steady. You know, every once in a while, you know, you have a bad quarter for any reason. One of your top doctors went on vacation, you know, the company assigned a quota that was really too high. Things like that are going to affect the performance of one quarter or one trimester. And when you are paid 4 times a year versus 3 times a year, you have more time to recover if you have, you know, a difficult season. Another element is whether you're working in pharmaceuticals or medical devices. You know, there are some top companies out there in the medical device arena where reps can make as much as, you know, $300,000. You know, those are one of the best, but that's more money than what many doctors make in a year. So it really depends also, you know, in what area you're performing. In the side of pharmaceutical sales, you know, once you have a couple of years of experience, it's not rare to see reps making 6 figures. As a matter of fact, I know reps that they make 120, 140, so it depends, once again, on your experience, how you rank, as I mentioned. Another element is how you get hired. You know, usually entry-level positions, they have a lower salary, but then if you're promoted 1 year or 2, you know, later on down the road, you're promoted to what is called a specialty sales position. Usually your salary is gonna go up between $12,000 to $15,000 a year. So that's another element. Sometimes companies can bring people from other industry and they can hire them as a specialty reps. So those reps are going to receive higher base and higher total compensation package. But once again, that is based on experience. So based on all these elements, you can see that the compensation can be all over the board. But once you know these factors, once you know these elements, you know how to handle them. The most important part is to get you in the industry, and then, you know, with your work ethics and your performance, you can have control of how much you do based on your performance. But right now, I'm going to tell you, if you're serious about, you know, breaking in this industry, stay focused. I'm going to invite you to take a look at my blog, where I have a lot of free information that you can use to help you break in this industry. I really encourage you to register in my website. Anywhere in my website, I have several places where you can register. You can put your name and email. And if you are in my email list, I send information that is not available anywhere else that is going to help you to break in this industry faster and easier.